It was the dawn of a new millennium. The name Xbox is now synonymous with the world of gaming, but Bill Gates and his computer crew had a long journey to win over the hearts of gamers and present a console family that will expand with the launch of the Xbox Series X. How did the Xbox One launch almost shut down the whole Microsoft gaming division? And how exactly did Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson help influence his millions and millions of fans to purchase the original console? Well, we have your answers as we take a journey through the complete Xbox history. After over a decade of competition between Sega and Nintendo, a new company was entering the console wars: Microsoft. Gamers didn't know what to think at first. Sony had found a lot of success with the original PlayStation, but so many other companies have come and gone with their attempts at a new home console. Just a few years earlier, the Sega Dreamcast launched and effectively ended Sega's long run in console development. There was even a point in the mid-90s where Microsoft's rival Apple helped fund and release the Apple Bandai Pippin, a failed home console which did not sell very many units and was largely forgotten across the globe. So when rumors began sprouting up in the late 90s about a home console from Microsoft, fans were naturally leery. Then the 2001 Consumer Electronics Show took place, and the whole world was introduced to the Xbox. The name sounds gimmicky, but was chosen for the project's original name, the DirectX Box. So there it was, in 2001 on stage with the unlikely duo of Bill Gates and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson presenting the newest piece of gaming hardware.
That's fascinating.
And fans had plenty to be hyped about. Taking the lead from the Sony PlayStation 2 released 1 year prior, the Xbox featured a DVD drive, which could play games, music, and movies. The console was the first of its kind to feature a built-in hard drive, effectively eliminating the need for memory cards, and included the ability to rip audio music from CDs to play within games. Nothing like playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater to the smooth stylings of Lionel Richie. Bill Gates had a goal of mixing computer gaming with a home console. One of the biggest eye-turners from the initial Xbox presentation was the Xbox controller. Quickly nicknamed the Duke, the original controller looked like the DualShock 2 was stung by a swarm of bees. In an early manufacturing mishap, the controller boards for the design were sent to order before the final design was set in place. Instead of wasting valuable time and money, the thick controllers were produced, and 7-year-olds everywhere were in for a rude awakening when they got their little hands on the giant controller in the fall of 2001. Thankfully, the company released a slimmed-down controller within the next year, and the Duke was sent off to pasture. Following the trend of other gaming systems, Microsoft hopped aboard the holiday train and straight under many Christmas trees with a November 15, 2001 launch date. The Xbox sold extremely well in the United States, thanks to the console's easy-to-use AI and the release of signature games like Halo. But the first year of the Xbox was just the beginning. 2002 and 2003 really helped build the foundation, especially as Microsoft launched Xbox Live. Back in the early 2000s, online gaming was more of a novelty. People would play simple games like Yahoo, Pool, or Slingo. The PS2 had online gaming capabilities, but players needed to buy a separate LAN add-on and the games were few and far between. Xbox Live turned the gaming community into a united one. Halo 2 was a mega hit, and the online element completely changed the game. Xbox Live was the forefront of online gaming and helped propel Microsoft as the company prepared to launch their next console. The annual fee was annoying, but now has just become a part of our annual budget. While Sony kept things simple with the PS2 and PS3 names, Microsoft went all in, launching the Xbox 360 in November of 2005. The Xbox 360 was not just a single console. With a core version and 20GB version launched at the start, Microsoft just kept churning out new versions of the 360. Not even counting special edition skins like the Star Wars R2-D2 edition, the Xbox 360 had 9 different versions come out between 2005 and 2013. The core of the consoles featured a DVD disc drive, hard drives with increasing capacity for each new release, and Dolby Digital surround sound. After 2007, newer versions featured HDMI output, completely enhancing the way the Xbox 360 played on HD TVs. The processors helped increase speed and performance, leading to top-selling hits like Halo 3 and the rise of the Call of Duty series. The success of Call of Duty emphasized how well Xbox Live truly took off and built a whole gaming community. The true highlight of the Xbox 360 launch has to be the wireless controller. Even though the controller still relied on the annoying disposable batteries, it was simply perfection. Triggers were smooth, the analog stick layout was perfect, and the PC compatibility meant players could use the controller without even playing the Xbox. And this wasn't some crappy third-rate wireless controller with shoddy controls and feedback. The controller worked seamlessly and set the standard for future controller development. Just look at the Switch Pro controller or Google Stadia's controller. They essentially followed the same blueprint as Xbox, and for good reason. The one fumble with the launch of the Xbox 360 was Microsoft's dedication to the HD DVD player. As if the console wars weren't enough, Microsoft and Sony entered the media wars. The PS3 featured a native Blu-ray player, while the 360 offered an add-on HD DVD player. We all know how that one ended up, giving Sony an edge on media access. And we can't move on without mentioning the dreaded Red Ring. Early versions of the console would develop the Red Ring error, essentially turning the thing into a big glowing brick. Maybe that's why they released 9 versions of the console. But one of the Xbox 360's biggest successes didn't even require a controller. It was the wireless camera-based Kinect add-on. Feeling pressure from the massive success of the Nintendo Wii and their interactive controllers, Microsoft released the Kinect. Hand movements and motions would control games like Kinect Adventures, Disneyland Adventures, and Dance Central. Sure, there were duds like Hulk Hogan's Main Event, but the wireless controls proved to be more than just a novelty. Unfortunately, everything that went perfect with the launch of the Xbox 360 did not occur with the next release in the Microsoft line, the Xbox One. Excitement built with early announcements for the next-gen console, but the excitement quickly disappeared with each new piece of news. The shortlist? Players couldn't share games or sell used game discs. The Kinect would have to be connected to play, and the console needed an internet connection to operate. Yeesh. Privacy issues much? Even though Microsoft backtracked on those controversial decisions, the damage was done, and Microsoft stuck with their worst decision of all, setting a $500 price point. That price was $100 more than Sony's PS4, and fans proved that console loyalty could be changed with just a $100 difference. Even with all the pitfalls, the Xbox One was still a powerhouse, and Microsoft was starting to introduce all new ways to play. While the Switch was reinventing the hybrid console, Microsoft was finding ways players could connect to the Xbox outside of the literal box. The Xbox Game Pass introduced cloud gaming and gaming on Windows devices. The Xbox Play Anywhere service gives players the chance to own the games and play them on both consoles and PC. Hardware-wise, the console boasts an 8-core APU and more than 8 GB of memory in most models. In short, the console was an extremely fast and perfect way to play games like Grand Theft Auto V and Star Wars Battlefront. Microsoft was smart with their controllers, keeping things essentially the same with the new wireless design. And as 4K televisions took over the market, Xbox responded with the Xbox One X. The advanced console not only introduced the 4K graphics, but boosted hard drive space, memory, and speed. The 4K design pretty much felt like a preview of what was to come, and we all know what that is: the Xbox Series X. Yeah, sure, Microsoft is all over the place in the naming department, but they are ready to correct the past with the Series X release. How will they do this? First of all, check out the Series X design. They've taken the whole box thing pretty literally this time around. The tall box is going to be packed with power, supporting 8K graphics and ray tracing, which offers some of the most realistic graphics ever offered in console games. Then there's the treatment of gamers. Before the Xbox One launched, gamers were threatened to lose used titles. Well, now Microsoft is allowing gamers to upgrade their Xbox One games at a minimal charge and delivering backwards compatibility for a majority of Xbox titles. Even with a fancy new name and a fancy new box, Microsoft plans on reaching gamers using a whole new strategy by purchasing whole gaming companies. In the past year alone, Microsoft has purchased a handful of gaming companies, including Obsidian Entertainment and Playground Games. The goal is to have as many exclusive games as possible and lure players in with their new cloud gaming venture, xCloud. Imagine playing a game on the Series X, pausing that game, and continuing on a phone or tablet. This is the future of the Xbox, and a way to take away some Switch players. They already began previewing games, with some incredible footage released from the newest Assassin's Creed game, Valhalla. Players will explore the world of Vikings, and if the preview is a glimpse of what's to come with the Series X, then we have a ton to look forward to. Microsoft has put some upgrades into the controller as well. Sure, we still have to deal with the disposable batteries, but the other features make it worth it. The triggers and bumpers both feature textured grips and more adaptive controls to read player actions. A capture button helps with video capture and should integrate nicely into Microsoft's Mixer video streaming platform. The D-pad is still in use, and the Series X controller will feature an updated D-pad for more comfort and accuracy. Plus, there's always the Elite controller, with advanced features, interchangeable parts, and some of the best performance times. In short, the Xbox Series X will look to undo all the mistakes the Xbox One made in the past. Microsoft is trying to get ahead of the game, especially as Sony gears up to launch the PS5. With more plans and a cleaner picture of what gamers want, the Series X represents the future of the Xbox, and it's pretty clear the Xbox is here for the long haul. They just really need some new employees in the naming department. So, are you an Xbox gamer? What's their best console? What features are you looking forward to the most? Do you think there'll be more consoles in the future, or will everything move to the cloud? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe to The Gamer for more great videos.